Yeah, hi, welcome. My name's Jeffrey Shaw, and we're broadcasting from Radio FM 88 Australia here in the Springwood studios in Brisbane, Queensland, Australia. Thursday nights, Queensland, it's 7 o'clock traditionally for us. We don't go to daylight savings, so it's constant 7 o'clock. But those people in New Zealand, it's 10 o'clock. Our friends in New South Wales and Victoria, it's just gone 8 o'clock. Our solitary listener in South Australia, Yvonne, is 7:30. And directly, I'm sure she'll love that. And of course, directly right above me again, at the very top, is Andrena, my co-host. It's 9 o'clock in the morning for her, and I'm going to hand the show over to Andrena.
Right. Thank you, Jeffrey. Good morning, everybody, and welcome if you're new to Dreaming the New Dream. Today we have the lovely Donna, who is on the Sunshine Coast, and she's an animal communicator. And I know one of the most amazing things is you can talk to your animal, and we know that they try and tell you something and they're going on, and you just don't know what they're saying. So Donna's going to enlighten us today on some tips on how we can communicate with the animals. But also, I would love you to share your story of how you started, how animals came to you, and it's just evolved and evolved. And now you've got such a following, animals and humans. So I'd love you to share your story with us.
Excellent. Thank you both for having me here. Wow, lots of questions. It's in relation to how I got started, I guess it was nearly 7 years ago. I adopted, well, at that point, I was a foster mum of a beautiful golden retriever called Fergie. And this lady said to me, "Would you like an animal communication session?" And like, let's face it, it sounded like a bit of fun. So I said yes.
As you would.
And I had to put my questions out, and I really had no idea what it was or how it worked or anything. So, like we all do, I'm coming to the conversation with an open mind. And as it evolved that particular day, as we were talking, I couldn't believe that she knew these things. But also I couldn't believe that I knew a lot of the things that she was telling me, like about the dog that I'd already picked up from him. So, it was sort of like a light bulb moment. And before it finished, and by the way, I was on the Sunshine Coast, and this lady was in South America at the time. So, that even baffled me that she was so far away, and how could she be connecting with my animals that were just here with me? So, at the end of it, I said to her, "Do you need special skills to do this?" And she said to me, "Donna, anybody can do this." And that sort of planted the seed. And I'd always had a massive love for animals from as young as I can remember. I've carted around the dog, carted around the cat, had birds, had fish, had horses, you name it. Picked up kittens, brought them home, got ringworms from them. Got pictures of me, yay high with any animal in sight. I would drag them home. So, when I reflect back now, I obviously was connecting with animals all of my life, but I just didn't know it was a thing, and nobody had given it a name. Nobody had said it's something. So it wasn't until I decided, hey, I really want to investigate this further. So I set about trying to find a mentor. And even at that point, I didn't know that maybe if I'd gone online, I could have searched and found some information, because maybe my awareness was just not there at that point. So after about, I don't know, a couple of years after that conversation, it never left my mind. I always thought, I really want to learn this stuff. Like, what's the dog saying? What's the cat saying? Why is the cat doing this? And, this particular golden retriever, I then adopted him, and I really wanted to create a closer relationship with him. So I went to a one-day course, and I've got to say, when I left, I thought, it can't be this easy. So, have you heard that reality? It can't be this easy. We've got to make it hard, because if it's hard, then I can struggle. And, if it doesn't work, then I can say it was way too hard. So that was kind of a funny thing. I came away this particular day, and I think I'd connected with something like 8 different animals in this day, and I was busy writing my notes, and I just kept thinking, oh, somebody soon's going to tell me that, you know, this is wrong, and I was getting really good success, but I didn't believe I could do it. So, you know, I went to somebody else. Eventually I hooked up with another mentor who really sat me down and said, Donna, you have the ability. You just got to really hone your skills. And that sort of kicked it into place. I said, right, I'm quitting my job. I was a digital marketer. I'm quitting my job and I'm just going to do animal communication. So I went from kind of here to here overnight, and I ran around. I told all these people, hey, blah, blah, blah. And of course, you know, the first person that came along that was a disbeliever poured the hot water all over me, or the cold water, and I struggled for a bit once again because, you know, my, as I call him, Marvin, my little ego stepped in and said, you can't do this. I use Marvin in the classes that I teach because Marvin's such a good guy. And, you know, that kind of kicked in. And so, you know, there was an up and down journey till one day I just went, you know what? I've got to get over myself because the animals need me. The animals need me to be a voice and to share those messages. And who doesn't want to do what they love doing? Who doesn't want to be able to share that dream or that experience or that love with other people? So, you know, when the critics, because there's always going to be critics come along, I just go to them, you know, it's okay. You believe what you want to believe. This is what I do. This is what I love. And, you know, it's just grown from there.
Awesome. I love it. I love your little ego.
Marvin.
I've not seen anybody with one of those before, so you're the first.
He's a sock puppet. He's got a little imperfection down here. We're all got little, but I don't actually have one here for my students. I actually got Marvin printed out in postcards, and at the end of their course, I sent a copy of Marvin out to every one of them and said, put this up beside your computers so that when you are connecting with an animal and all of a sudden you get doubt, you just got to give Marvin the, you're out of here, buddy.
That's it, making light of it, eh?
Absolutely. And it's, you know, it's funny because they'll often write, oh, Marvin stepped in today. So Marvin is extremely popular and well known for all of my students that do animal communication classes with me.
Well, thank you, Marvin. So share some of the funny stories that you've had from some of the animals.
Funny stories. You know, you ask that and all of a sudden Marvin steps in and I think, oh, I can't remember any. I guess one recently, and I've connected to this dog a couple of times now, and it is sad, but it's funny, right? And I have got permission from the Guardian to share this story, but I will call him a different name just for the sake of ease. We'll call him Bruce. I think you probably had a photo, Jeff, that I did share of this particular dog, which he's a bulldog. And he recently passed, and his mum booked in an animal communication session. One of the beautiful things is when you're connecting with animals that are passed, you know, you're really able to, I like that one, you're really able to share with the Guardian messages just to help them with their grief. And this particular dog came along. Mum was absolutely devastated. It was, you know, right in the midst of when we had COVID. And she just felt completely isolated and was really upset about the fact that her dog suddenly had passed. And when I say suddenly, she's in the kitchen cooking, walks out to pat him, and he's gone, just like that. So it was totally unexpected. And, you know, she felt that she'd missed signs. So the thing is we connected and talked about the process and what had happened. But he started to give her advice, right? Because she's saying, I'm not sure what I'm going to do for a job. And I was just about to say, I think you're going to do dog grooming. You know, dog grooming seems to be quite popular around you. And she said at exactly the same time, I'm looking at doing dog grooming. And I went, yay. Anyway, the conversation evolved, and he kept saying that you know, if it's going to be dog grooming, it needs to be it needs to be a spa. So a VIP dog spa. It
Oh,
can't just be a grooming salon. It has to be VIP, and it has to be an experience. And he was just sharing the most amazing stuff. I asked her, could I possibly hire him as a marketing guru for myself? It was literally so much fun. And, you know, she was crying, but I was laughing. And I kept thinking, I've got to stop laughing so much. But everything that he was sharing, anyway, you know, he said to me things like, well, he kept sending me images of him in all these different outfits. And I'm thinking, this just doesn't seem right. And I said to her, look, I can see Bruce wearing a life-saving outfit. So, you know, she lived in Queensland as well, in a beach town. And then I said, and I see him dressed up as a sausage, and I was calling out all of these outfits. And she said, yes, that's right. He used to have his photo taken for a magazine advertising dog outfits. And, you know, and then I said to her, he wants to have all these photos put in a coffee table book so that, you know, when friends come over to her place, they can flick through the pages and see him in all of his glory. Because, you know, while we feel that they may have left us on a physical realm, they are still in the spiritual realm and still reminding us of things. So, and I'll look at this in a minute from Karen.
yeah. Yeah.
So, you know, this was just so beautiful. He went on about what he wanted to do in terms of being cremated, where his ashes were to be scattered. He also spoke about how many people were to come to the portee, not the party, the portee, and they had to have 20 cupcakes, and they had to have this certain icing on them. And I mean, it was just amazing. It was probably one of the best animal communication sessions I've ever done because it was so fun. And, you know, when you reflect back, you just can't make this stuff up. And she was just like so excited. So anyway, I recently connected with him again, and we went through a couple of other things. And, you know, this time Mum asked a couple of questions, and it was really interesting because it was to do with cooking. And I said, I'm sorry, he keeps telling me, I've got to talk about Bruce's balls. I don't know what that means. You know, like, obviously we think maybe of the dog, but I was going, he keeps saying, tell you about his balls. Like, you know, his balls. She's like laughing. He said, I used to cook him these special little meatballs. And he's suggesting that she should cook those meatballs and sell them at her shop. And it was all about, don't forget that even though that, you know, she was making meals because she did catering, doing meals for the humans, that she could have an aspect for animals in there. I mean, you know, this dog it was just a crack up, right? Because, you know, the whole time he's got all these things going, and that was his beautiful personality shining through. He was making his mum laugh. He was raising her vibration, and he was helping her release that grief because she was holding on, even though it was now 2 months later, to the fact of what did I do wrong, or why didn't I see that he was sick or notice some signs. So, you know, that grief, a lot of people carry around. That's such a big question that they ask me is, do they forgive me? Or why didn't I know this, or why didn't I see this? And this is what he was doing, was just helping her, you know that he was still there, and being able to support her even though he's in the spirit realm. So yeah, that was beautiful. That was a good fun one. What's another one? You know, I had a horse that I really loved connecting with, and she kept insisting that her guardian had to go out and buy a big ball. You know, like those, I think they're exercise balls that we sit on.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, I don't know a lot about horses in that I did have a horse as a child, but I don't ride, and I'm not really in that arena all the time. I mean, I do, this is beautiful Clydesdales. This is my friend's horse. Anyway, the horse was insisting that it wanted one of these balls. So I then had to say to the guardian, do you get balls, like game things that horses can play with? And she went and investigated, and there's all these sort of toys that horses can get now. And so she followed through with what I shared, got this big ball, and the horse used to kick it around and played with it for hours. So it had gone from being very bored and alone in a paddock to being completely entertained by having one of these big balls in the paddock. So, you know, the things that they come out. And the horse also said that she wanted to work with children, being a therapy horse. And I thought, oh, okay, well, I'll share, because, you know, my thing is whatever comes through, you share with the guardian, right? It's not for me to judge is this right or wrong. And the lady said, that's really funny, because it was about a week ago we had this conversation of, do we think she would be good at doing that? So
Lovely.
the horse shared that with me randomly, and I said, oh, by the way, this is what the horse would like to do. And she said, wow. So yeah, they're the kind of fun things that that come through. And I mean, you know, they like to tease their guardians if they are put on a diet, right? This happens often. If you put your dog on a diet, they will say, oh, could you tell them that I'm not getting enough food? And I say, oh, your dog wants to know that you're not feeding them enough. And they'll start to kind of snigger and say, oh, well, you know, they're on a, and I go, yeah, but they're a little bit upset because they're not getting the this, and this. So they do kind of dob their guardians in if they don't feed them what they want.
That makes sense, hey? But I mean, I think for maybe some listeners, this might be a little bit way out of their comfort zone or their understanding, because, you know, not everybody think, well, my dog would tell me that or give me a message. So it's a little bit. So stay with us, folks. But no, I mean, and I think one of the things is the saddest things is when people have to take their animals to the vet when they've come to the end. And um, I know we've done it in the past, and you know, you think, why do we have to take them through all of that, the ending there? Why can't they just die at home? But it's just for whatever reasons, that's how it is, isn't it? But yeah, so what tips would you give? Because I know Karen shared her dog's, I can't remember what the message was, but about her dog coming to the end. Any tips for people that my dog isn't far from end of life, and I'm not sure how long she's not hearing or seeing well, and she has slowed right up. I just want to know, was
Why?
she in why she's in pain as she hides things like that. So could you give any sort of tips and
Well,
when they're near the end?
thanks for sharing the message, Karen. First of all, I can't tell you why she's in pain, because without connecting to your animal, I couldn't answer that. Sorry, Jeff, can you just leave that question up the bottom so I can just decipher it? But what I can tell you is that animals are coming towards the end of their life. It might be in your eyes that they're at the end of their life. In their eyes, they may not be. And I can give you a fantastic example. My 16-year-old golden retriever passed, I say it was only a few months ago, but it's probably 6 months ago now. I just can't tell you the date straight off the top of my head, but Fergie was 16. And, you know, for several years, everybody's been saying, he's getting old, you know, you're doing this, you're doing that. But every day, the minute we got up to go walking, he was at the door. He wanted to go walking. And for us as guardians, my partner and I, that's Ajax. Fergie's a white golden retriever. He'll be in there somewhere. For Fergie, you know, we took that as a sign that he still wished to go walking and he still wished to participate and still wished to do things with us. So even though you might feel that he's at the end of his life, if he's still engaging with you and he's still eating and he's still wanting to go outside, even though he may not wish to be going very far, you know, he's still participating in life. And I would encourage you to continue with that with him. Asking about pain, talk to your vet about pain, because, you know, if your dog's elderly, and certainly like for Ferg at 16, he had arthritis. There he is. That's his final day. He had arthritis in his legs. So, I had him on pain relief for arthritis, but he also had turmeric, and he was on CBD oil and a variety of things to support him. I'm really big in not over-medicating, but giving them supplements to support them. Sure, I had the benefit that other people, I don't know what why not means, but I had the benefit of being able to connect with him and ask questions of him, like, are you still happy to continue? And right to the very end, like, he was having difficulty getting up, but I used, it's like a help me up harness. And I was able to then put that harness on him, and he could still use his front legs perfectly well. And I just supported him with the back of the harness, and we were able to walk him out. And his favorite thing was a sniff and wee. So, he continued like that. And the last few days, I knew it was time because I took him dinner, which he'd always loved. And he took one mouthful and stopped. And I thought, oh, that's not you. You love your food. So, I took it away, checked in with him later, and he just didn't eat anything from that point forward. So I knew he was on his journey to transition. And I decided that I would give him time to let him pass over naturally. Obviously, being in contact with my vets to support him with pain relief if I needed it. And yes, I was using this transition essence, which I love. It is an Australian product, and it's fantastic to use with animals who are coming up to the end of their life, just to help them with passing and letting go. So, I was dosing me up, I was dosing Fergie up, and everything was going really, really good. I knew he was so close to the end of his life, but he ended up getting a pressure sore on his arm. And that then changed the whole process, because instead of letting him pass naturally, I knew that was going to cause a lot of problems for his organs, having that poison in his life. So, I did a session with him, and I also had another animal communicator connect with him. And we just talked about the fact that, whilst I'd like to let him do this naturally, that wouldn't be fair for him to be in a world of pain and that sick. So, that was sort of my journey. And for you, with your dog, if they're engaging with you and they're still being part of the family, then, I wouldn't panic too much about, is my dog ready for me to go and take to the vet to put to sleep? But for some people, that watching their dogs go through the end of life is very difficult. I know how hard it was for me. So, sometimes they make that choice to take their pets to the vet just a little bit ahead of what might have been the time that they would naturally have passed.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. That's lovely. Yeah, because I haven't got any pets at the moment, and but yeah. So for people that have, it's giving a better understanding, isn't it? That you can give them a little bit longer lease of life, even though they're not so mobile and can get around and do all of these things.
I think that if you talk to some vets, they kind of have like a standard, and Karen, this is something that I sat down and I looked at and I said, okay, if he can't do this anymore, is that going to affect his quality of life? If he can't do this, if he can't do this, if he can't do this, right? So when you go through those choices, and if they're not meeting those standards, then you're starting to get your answer. It's looking at that time. So for instance, if your dog's weeing and pooing and they can't get up to get out of it, that's not a quality of life for them, and it's very heart-wrenching for us. Now, for Fergie, he did get incontinent at the very end. But, I work from home, so I was able to work to be there for him. So I put, a little doggy nappy on him. They have the most amazing things you can get for your pets these days. And, because I didn't want him lying in his own urine, etc., and, I made sure he was taken out X amount of times a day. So if he needed to toilet himself, I could still support him. So, they're the maybe that's your line in the sand. If my dog's doing this, if your dog's not engaging with the family at all, that's another indicator. Right. So, talk to your vet and ask them what are the indicators. And, it will give you a better understanding of the timeline of when your animal is ready. Yeah, great, Karen. So if you're home, you can be supporting your dog. And Nadia's on the call. Like, she's just bought her beautiful big Great Dane, one of these Help Me Up. In Australia, they're called Help Me Up harnesses. And literally, you've got a handle on each end, but you could also put a hook on them and you can carry your dog with them. Nadia's got a Great Dane, and it's like this horse, right? Imagine if he goes down or she goes down while they're out. For me, that Help Me Up harness was the best investment I made for Fergie's well-being.
Yeah, because I see a lot more people now with little push chairs pushing their dogs along as well now. And the dog seems quite happy looking at the front being wheeled along.
Yeah. And look, I did try they have one of these cart things in Australia that a lot of people take their animal or take their kids, not their animals, their kids, and all the beach stuff to the beach. And I popped Fergie in one of those, and I thought he would love it. And Nadia's saying a handbag Dane. Yep. I thought Fergie would love this cart, and I was going to take him walking around the neighborhood. Unfortunately, he just stressed out in it, so I had to take him out. But, for anybody whose animal is getting towards the end of the life, I would encourage you to take photos. Take photos of your dog, do a bucket list of things they might enjoy, start doing all those kind of things, writing a beautiful note to them or writing a story about their life and what they mean to you. It really does help with that time of working towards when it is the right time. I had a family contact me and said, we're going to put our dog to sleep tomorrow. What do we do? I connected with the dog. The dog said to me, she's not ready. And now this dog was getting very close. And I, had this conversation, and it was all about what she wanted was to be honored. And so what she asked to do was to get everybody together in the family. And there was young children, right? Get them all together and get family photos with the dog. Then have the children sit down and write a story. Each wrote a little story out to the dog. And they all did these fun things with her for a week. And at the end of the week, the lady then made the decision today was the day. And she rang me up afterwards and she said that was so valuable to have that week together to involve the children. They understood life and death. They understood what was going to happen. And it was a completely different outcome to what it would have been the week before.
That's beautiful. And I think, and especially if you involve the children, because sometimes, the dog's there and then you've taken the dog away, never to come back, and they just don't understand. Whereas if they see what's happened, then they've got a much greater awareness, haven't they, eh?
Yeah, it was a beautiful experience.
There was somebody, I think it was Dell, wrote about why was her dog so aggressive. I saw it flash up. So obviously, yes, towards other dogs.
Dell, I'm not doing live readings on here today. So without knowing the name of your dogs anyway, it's very hard for me just to randomly connect in. But quite often if your dog is aggressive towards another dog, it could be a training thing. It could be emotional. It could be something that they've arrived with. It could be something going on at your home. And that's why doing an animal communication session, we can have a three-way conversation, because that's what an animal communication session is. It's you, me, and your beautiful dog, or dogs, as the case may be. And we ask what's going on. It could just be like a childhood squabble. Do you know what I mean? You could have two dogs and all of a sudden something's occurred and now they're bickering just like kids do. And it's really getting to the bottom and saying, okay, what caused this? What can we do about this? Coming to some common ground together. But I generally find dogs that are aggressive, it's because they need some new boundaries, and maybe they need to do some training, or they're there trying to protect you. This happens a lot. Dogs want to protect you, so they take this forefront of, if I'm aggressive to everything out there, they'll stay away from my guardian. All right. So, there is a lot of reasons, Del, why it could be happening. And without actually seeing your dogs and being able to connect with them, I just can't tell you randomly what the answer is on this call today.
Yeah, like you say, it could be a number of reasons. And I know there's a guy over there, I don't know what his name is, but I watch his program, and he goes all around to the stars and, watches the behavior of the owners with the dog and what's going on there, as well as the dog's behavior. Like, and it's like interesting when you see all the different dynamics that are going on. And, he just something so simple. And they're like, oh.
Is that the UK show? Is that the UK show?
Is that Caesar, the Mexican guy?
No, there's Caesar Milan. But there's one in the UK. He's amazing as well.
Wears glasses. I don't know his name. I watched him the other night, and yeah, this dog was lethal. My God! But I mean, he had it purring like a blooming kitten in the end. And I thought, what a lovely gift.
You have to tell us which accent they have. Is it an Australian accent? Is it a UK accent?
He was English. He was definitely English.
I definitely know the guy who's tall and lean, and he is fabulous.
Yeah.
Those kind of shows are just fantastic because, they're working on a behavioural connection with the animals. But whilst they say they're not animal communicators, I still believe that they have the gift because they come away, they know and understand as well what the animal's doing. I know the guy. I've just seen they had like a little French bulldog that was tearing the couch up and all these things when he would go out. And, there's a good chance my mother's never going to watch this watch this show. So I'll share about my mum. She's 78 years of age. And last year with COVID, we got a little Pomeranian off Facebook. Somebody wanted to get rid of this dog. And of course, I asked the question, does the dog bark? The girl said no, because Pomeranians are known as yappers. No, she said, does not bark. I said, okay. So Mum goes home with this little tiny fluff ball, all good. For 2 weeks, the dog didn't bark. Absolutely beautiful. A gorgeous little dog. Come the start of week 3, she just took on this terror role. If somebody stepped out of the lift, it was, if somebody knocked on the door, if somebody come in their house, if another dog come around, she was aggressive. She was this, 4 kilos of aggression, right? So Mum says to me, you're an animal communicator. Talk to her and find out what's going on. And I'm like laughing, right? Because I said, Mum, not every dog is going to share with me, which translates to, Mum, everybody can see what's wrong with the dog. It's you.
Good old Mum.
Mum babies this dog and she carries it around and pets it 24/7 and dresses it up and it's absolutely beautiful. I mean, it's a beautiful support dog for my mum. She's retired now and the dog's been there to support her. But the trouble is she doesn't realize that what she's doing is, the dog wants to protect her. So the dog's taken this role on instead of being her kind of comforter, and Mum should be the guardian or the protector. The dog is. So the minute there's a sound, she's like on the forefront of. Unfortunately, my mum had to go to hospital a couple of weeks ago, and I got Zali for 3 days. So we had a chat straight off, like, Zali, you don't bark in my house, because I am the leader here. And everything's good. We're really calm. Like, all my dogs are calm. They don't bark. And we had to go through some conversations of this is what it's like living here. Anyway, it was just beautiful because, Nadia, that is true.
Yeah.
And at that time, this dog was so calm. But what had happened is before she'd come to my mum's, I think that she was barking, and I do know that the other little dog she was with had got attacked and nearly killed. So she had a high level of anxiety. So, and by Mum constantly stroking her and reaffirming that it's okay to be stressed all the time, Mum thought she was doing the right thing, but she's just reaffirming it. So here I created an environment of where she was just a dog, and I mean that in the nicest possible way of just a dog. Um, but, you know, like I allowed her to self-settle. So what that means is she sat on the floor, or she could be on the couch, but she needed to settle herself. She didn't need me to do it for her. And once she could get into that routine was I can settle, she actually went to sleep. She wasn't on high alert. She didn't need to guard anything. And sometimes she'd look around and go, oh, nobody cares. Nobody's expecting anything of me. And she just completely transformed. So my mum said to me a week later, I don't know what you did to that dog, but she's not barking anymore.
Oh, I can hear we got the frogs joining us in the
I can
background.
hear,
Oh, yeah, I've just turned
the
I turned my microphone down. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can hear the frog. So yeah, as Nadia said, quite often dog behavioural problems really do come back to what's going on with us as the guardian, and you know what we expect of animals, because animals come into our life with a purpose. You know, they need a job. If they don't have a job, they give themselves a job, and sometimes that's not the best job. And you know, Zali was taking on this role of being my mum's guardian, because mum's um, I wouldn't say she's can you say the word now, Dotty? No, I mean that as a proper word. You know what I mean?
I don't think that's the right word.
Anyway, it used to.
Sorry, Mum.
You know, she's forgetting the odd thing, and you know, she'll turn up at the appointment at the wrong time, and doing some of these things. And you know, the dog's taking on some of those frustrations, I guess, for my mum. So it's been really interesting from my point of view as her daughter, but also my point of view as an animal communicator, trying to get my mum to understand their relationship together and to turn it around, which leads me to I can tell people what their dogs say, what their dog's feeling, what their dogs want, but they have to take it on board and implement it if they want change.
So, what tips would you give for somebody that would like to communicate with their dog or cat or you know, any pet? You know, because like where I'm currently staying down in Dorset.
I knew you were going to say this one. Yeah.
Is lots of horses, and there's two beautiful horses next door, and a little Shetland. No, he's not a Shetland. I'm not sure what he is, but he was a rescue. I love horses, but I don't really. I'm not in fear of them, but I think they're so big and huge. So it's like knowing how to approach them. So I know Debbie, my neighbour, said just let them sniff your hand. Like, of course, you get a big nostril go on your. So it's like, and then I walked further afield the other day, and there was these three beautiful brown horses. I don't know if they were like gypsy horses because they were like all furry, or there's a furry breed. I don't know much about horses, but they were lovely, you know. So I sort of just put my hand there and said hello. So what tips would you get for people to start communicating?
Well, first of all, I'd say be careful putting your hand out because they can bite.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, my responses are quite quick.
Look, for me personally, I think if you're wanting to engage with animals, engaging or trying to connect with your own animals can often be a little bit more difficult than somebody else's animal, because we have a lot of our own preconceived ideas of what the response should be. So our own animals are communicating with us every single day. And, you know, there's if you're sitting there watching TV and all of a sudden you think, oh, I've got to get up and feed my dog, good chance your dog's been sending you messages. You know, they send little blinkers, and if you're not responding, they give you a nudge. Or, you know, Ajax, my golden retriever, he's so good. You know, he sends these constant, and he looks around and he sends messages to here, and then he gives me the eye look. And if I get up and I start walking because I get the message, Mum, you've got to come and look at this, then he's constantly showing me. So he does physical cues as well as telepathic cues. So, you know, look what your animals are doing. If you're wanting to them, the exercise, here's 2 exercises that I give my students. So when I talk about students, these are all people who just love animals and they want to learn to connect with them. So we have depending upon which course I do, sometimes it's 4 weeks, sometimes it's 6 weeks. But the very first week I say to them, okay, tonight when you finish this class, I want you to connect with your pet. And you can see Marvin steps in straight away and says, they're never going to do that. Well, the easy exercise I give them is to go into the other room, into a room next door. Now, you can go and get a treat out, pop it in your pocket. Don't let them see you do this, right? And then walk into a next room, because if they see you, they're going to follow you. Go into the room, sit quietly, bring all this chatter in your mind, let that go and come down into your heart space and take a couple of deep breaths in, out, and just imagine you've got this beautiful ball of love, right? And just send that from here, your chest area, your heart area here, through to them. And it's just, it can just be like a little bubble you send out to them, or it could be a gold cord you send to them, or and then just send this off to them and say, come into this room, I've got a treat for you. Now, if you stay there in that room and stay in your power, don't think about, I've got to put my makeup on, or I've got to have a cup of tea, or I need a wee. If you stay in your power and you focus on them, sending them love and calling them into the room, I guarantee you they'll come in that room, right? Because you've already got that connection. They'll be going, oh my goodness, they're trying to, and they come running, right? A great example, one of my students, she said to me, Donna, it didn't work. I said, okay, well, you do know that your cat has got free will, right? If the animals have free will, they can do what they want to do, and cats always have a mind of their own. But I said, what were you doing? She said, well, I was in the kitchen, I was making a cup of tea, and I was getting my breakfast ready. And I said, so were you 100% focused on this activity? I don't know. I was running late for work. And I said, so do you think that your cat should have come running in because you were really focused? So, that's a really fun activity just to practice with them. Sometimes I say to Ajax, like, he'll be sitting in the other room and I go, blink if you're listening to me. And he sits there and I go, okay, well, maybe just look at me. So, you can practice these things with them just to have fun, okay? But coming into the room and giving him a reward for it is a really good fun activity. And it's interesting because the students come back and they go, how did I do that? Because you're already connected with your animals. It's their distribution. Another one that I like to do, this was the question I think you asked me about your little fairy creatures in the roof of your house. Like, we're in Queensland and the flies are starting to come.
Oh, God. Yeah. Oh.
Flies drive me crazy. So I always say to them, look, I know that you're here to get food and you're here to live and do all this thing, but I would just request that you stay out of my kitchen. So I'm going to walk to the door. You're going to follow me to the door, or you can fly to the door ahead of me and I'm going to open it up and you can go outside. And, I leave a little bit of food out there for them that they can go and munch on. But I say to them, look, this is my space. Please don't come into this space because I don't want to be the person that gets in trouble because I, have something there. If somebody sprays you, I'm giving you the warning, right? I'm not going to spray them because I don't like spray, and I don't want to kill them, but I'm giving them the warning. Move out, right? Yesterday I went out to my beautiful greens that I'm growing. Being a vegetarian, I've been growing all these beautiful different things to put in my smoothies. I get out there and there's these little grubs and snails and I'm saying, what are you doing? You've just about eaten out all my greens. So, I pick them and a leaf and I say, here, go here. Or I've moved the snails into another container where they can safely munch away all they like. But please stay off my greens. I've got out there and I've got a little bit of garlic spray, hoping they don't like that. I've learned that you can use marigolds to chase them away. But it's all about having that conversation. I mean, I can say to them, this is what I'd like you to do. They can go, hey, no, Donna, this is the best. Now, there's a couple of snails, and these are my friends, these snails, but these other little snails are about yay big. When I went out yesterday afternoon, I swear to God, there was 50 tiny grasshoppers. I thought, my greens haven't got a chance. I just left them to be. But, you know, like as you've seen those two beautiful snails there, those things are about this big. They are huge. Like they are really huge. And we recently had all our gardens done. And I said to the gardener, oh, if you see those two big snails, just leave them be. And he said, oh my God, you've got to kill them. They're going to eat your garden. I said, no. They've lived in harmony with us in this house for 4 years. I go out at night. They're there. They're around. I don't want to kill them. They don't hurt me. You know, I allow them to be. And, you know, they line up for a photo every now and then. But, you know, you can talk to the animals. You can ask them to move out. But always remember they have free will. And, you know, they're wild. And they're not always going to do what you want. But you can certainly try that experience.
Oh dear, I was going to ask you something then. It's been popped out.
Always free will there.
Yeah, no, I mean, I just, you know, I love your stories. I mean, you know, we all love our pets, and I know I've been blessed on my travels that I've always ended up staying with somebody or lived with somebody that's got a dog. Wherever I've gone, dog. You know, I love dogs. I know. I don't mind cats and other animals, but I'm a dog lover. If I had a choice, it would be a dog. So, yeah, I just, you know, stop and talk to all the people with their dogs and what have you. Yeah.
Well, you know, you're talking about those horses. Rather than going up and maybe patting them, just stand in your power and just send them love. Like, you know, you're into vibration and sound and all that sort of thing. I mean, we do not have to touch every animal because they might not want to be touched. But I always, if I'm passing an animal, I always, like you say, hey, how you going? Or hello. And I just send them some love.
Yeah,
you know,
that's what I normally do.
A pink bubble. Now, if they want to engage and they're enjoying it, they will walk up to you. You know, I just find the whole thing of some dogs just don't want to engage with you. Other dogs want to be all over you. And that's what I love about it because they're just like us. They have their own personalities. All of the animals have their own personality. And that's the great thing about them and us.
Oh, right. I remember you shared about a bird. Now, I'm not sure if it was was it back along? Did you have a pet?
Oh, no, you're talking about the black cockatoos,
Oh,
aren't
yeah,
you?
yeah.
Black cockatoos.
Yeah.
So is that what you're asking me about? Because I have this collection of black cockatoo feathers. I've got so many of them downstairs. So the traditionally black cockatoos were the keepers of rain, and they would, you know, bring in, people would go, oh, the black cockatoos are here, it'll be rain. But you know, interested because I live in an area where there's what they call glossies, and they have red tails. These are yellow tails.
Yeah.
And these come in and out. And you know, I would have shared with you before how I didn't even know that these were in the area where we currently live. And I was just walking one day thinking about, am I doing the right thing? Should I be releasing some animal communication cards? And the black cockatoo flew over the top of me. So, you know, the story about the cockatoos is that every time I'm considering, you know, is this my right path, or should I be doing this or doing that, I see the cockatoos, or that, you know, I'll find one of their beautiful feathers. So it's just like my spirit animal that, you know, confirms things for me.
Yeah. Talking of, you know, because I shared with you about furry friends and different things, and I've got a spirit animal guidebook, and so when I read the messages of these different little animals around, I was like, oh my God, thank you for the message. Spot on.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm really blessed where we live. We're on a canal, so we get stingrays come through. The other day there was a squid, not octopus. What's the other ones? They are called squids, I think. I was going to say calamari. Oh, God. No, I do not eat squid or calamari. There was one of them in the waterways here. I was just couldn't believe it. Absolutely beautiful. So, I'll go outside in the morning and these animals are just all swimming past because it's deep water access and they can come into the weir. And then, we have hundreds of birds and lizards and possums and kangaroos and all around this immediate area. So for an animal communicator, it's just a dream.
You're in heaven.
Absolutely. And, crazy as it sounds, I get outside and I tell the crow off. I say, leave those baby possums alone. All animals are safe in my place.
Whereabouts are you on the Sunshine Coast?
Twin Waters, just up
Oh, I
near
know. Yeah.
yeah.
No, I did stay on the Sunshine Coast for a while, but yeah, I loved it all around there. But then Australia's got so many beautiful places, eh?
Oh,
So
absolutely.
pick a card today with your new animal communicator cards.
Well, these aren't so new now. These have been around a year, and I'm not sure if you're aware. I actually have a Christmas special for them at the moment, which I'll tell you. So let's pick a card from Ajax to share with me. Ajax, what would you like to share with your mother? I like this one. Pay attention to the little things.
Oh, yeah. Very important.
That is very important because, there's been a lot of stuff going on in our life at the moment. Been very, very busy with, it's the weirdest thing. I mean, we're only in day 2 of December, but it's already busy. And it's like you go to the shopping centre, but I think there's a new summer solstice or something like that coming up. Is that correct?
Yeah.
There's a time
winter solstice on the 21st.
This is another message. When I created these cards, that's Ajax in the middle, by the way, and these are either my animals or animals I've worked with. And when I created these cards, and I used to do live animal communication connections on my Facebook page, this card would come out every time, the I love you. First thing that would come out. And in the end, I would take the card out because I was sure people thought that the whole deck was full of I love yous.
That's beautiful. I thought that looked like me with Cosmo there that you shared, Jeff.
Yeah, you're back on the screen. I was thinking, oh, that could be my little poodle, but it's definitely not me.
Oh, God,
so I was going to say, in relation to there's the dog sideways. If you're interested in just starting out with animal communication, I created these cards just to really help people connect with their own pets. And as we shared before about, just sending that energy to your animal, you can just sit, bring all your energy back into your heart center, shuffle the cards and ask a question or ask, what do I need to know today? And then, draw a card out from your animal and then, really sit in with what that means for you. And for anybody who is interested in getting the cards, they're on a special at the moment for the next 7 days. And I actually have created this beautiful journal that goes with them that you can download and print out. And it's got like daily cards. So, you write down about what your question is, your interpretation, just a reflection of it. Then there's also... you can record them down on a monthly basis. And I've got tips and tricks in about connecting with animals and those sort of things in the journal. So, it's just really to give people not only have the cards, but have a journal to support them on that journey as well. So they're over on my website on the Pet Connection cards if you want to go over there. And I do ship internationally to the UK.
Like we say, the postage is more expensive than your cards.
It is crazy, but the thing is I think if you look at it this way, in the UK, there's two Australian dollars to a pound. So if you think about it that way, the cards are costing you about £11. £11, £10 to buy the cards. So, You know, the postage might be a little bit more expensive, but if you share it with a friend, it makes it cost effective.
Yeah,
So,
or you can buy a few packs as gifts, eh?
absolutely. Great stocking stuffers. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I believe you had a course. I'm not sure if it was this month or for people to sign up, and I believe that's sold out. This one is full now.
It absolutely. So last month we just finished animal communication level 1, and I had 17 students booked in for that. So we just finished literally on the end of the month. And then this month on the 8th of December, I think it is, we're starting animal healing, and it's called Scan, Color, Heal. So I'll be going through teaching people how to scan their animals' bodies. There's fun activities because, you know, for me, it has to be fun, because if it's not fun, why do it?
Yeah.
You know, if you want a serious animal communicator and healer, then there is plenty of them out there. But
You're not the one.
no, I like to bring, you know, that's why we have Marvin. We have, like, you know, little things like this. And because I think everybody, you know, needs to lighten up and enjoy their time together. And you learn much better that way. So we scan the body, then we learn about colors and what the color reflects in your life and chakras. And then the last session we go through and we do different healing techniques with the animals, just, you know, to release what's going on. So, you know, when the first lady was asking about her dog being aggressive, we would identify, is it an emotion, or is it pain, or is it, you know, this or that. So we will look at those aspects of it, and then we would go through and do healing and releasing. So, yeah, very excited. It will be on, and there'll be more classes on in the new year. And, of course, I do have a monthly animal communication group that if you're already a budding animal communicator but you want to practice in a safe environment, we have the Journey group that's 38 Australian dollars a month. And there's 4 practices, one every week, a different type of practice for people to participate in. And that's very popular.
But it's good if you've got a pet, really.
Well, you know, the animal communication course I did the time before, so I just did a back-to-back. I had a lady in there that didn't have a dog or a pet of any shape or form, but she's actually an animal therapist, massage therapist, and she wanted to communicate with animals. So she came along. Because we work on everybody else's animals, it doesn't really matter. You know, and that's a good thing. There's plenty of people willing to put their animals forward to connect to them.
Yeah,
I think we should call Jeff's frogs up for the next session.
Yeah, but they're quiet. He's got the sound down.
I can hear them. I can hear them.
We had them on a few weeks ago. Oh my, excuse me. They were so loud. Oh, we could just barely hear ourselves speak. I know we haven't talked about it, but I was going to say I use my little Healy for people that don't know about the Healy. I love mine and I use it for all sorts of things, but I know there is a program for pets on there. The basic one, isn't there? And you can, if you want to go into more depth, there is a one that you subscribe to. So, so that's
it's by the Healy Resonance. So it has to be the Resonance or the Professional. The pet bundle comes on there. Look, I love it. I love it. I use it for my pets. I use it for other pets. But for me, actually, it's an underused tool. And when I say that is that the programs on there for the pets is one thing, but it also has homeopathics. It also has like materia medica, bushflower essences, you know, these kind of things that I use. They have all those in there, bark flowers in there, gemelexes. So, you know, it's got all these fabulous things that you can use to work with your pets. And then there's even the third aspect where you can actually scan products and deliver those frequencies as well. So, you know, if anybody's listening, reach out to Andrena, and ask her about it. You know, you can work with you or talk to me. There's a great special on at the moment. Did you know that?
Well, I saw it, but I haven't really looked at it. I've been preoccupied doing other things. But what I was going to say was I have been working with my niece's dog and a friend's dog, and it's interesting that the one of the little dogs that I've been working with, and they're both very tiny dogs, beautiful little souls, and it was coming up irritants, and I said I think it was the cleaning products, because they're so tiny and they're on the floor, they're absorbing it straight in. And so anyway, I sent them the frequencies for that, and then it did settle down. But you could see, you can sort of see and that's another thing, people are not aware of the damage of chemicals that they use around the house. They spray with all these different, I use essential oils, I make up my own little sprays, and I do my own little pick and mix. But the chemicals that you're doing on the floor, you're doing on the carpet, you're spraying so it all smells fresh or whatever, are so damaging to pets, aren't they?
Absolutely. That brings me to an animal communication session I did the other day with a sausage dog. And the lady wanted to know why the dog keeps weeing on the veranda and not, because they actually have a outdoor toileting mat, and it's weeing on the veranda instead of in there. And I said, doesn't like the smell. And even now, when I think about the dog, my nose is twitching. I can pick up. When I said you're using something out there that is just not agreeable to this dog. And she said, oh, my husband's cleaning it with water and vinegar, and then he uses eucalyptus or something like that
to
sneak around. And I said, well, your dog's about this far off the ground, walking in it, sliding in it, that smell's going up his poor little nose. Certainly not good for him. And you're right, Karen, some essential oils are not good for animals, but there is a lot of essential oils you can use. But, for anybody listening, before you use essential oils, make sure that they are okay to use with your pets. And in this case, you would never use eucalyptus because it's just so strong. But also a dog that's that far away from the ground, imagine how he was feeling. So he was kind of out there doing a pee, and he didn't care where he was peeing, and back inside. So, we went through this whole thing of talking about, if we change this and we get a new mat and, Dad just uses water, will you go back to doing, what is da-da-da-da. So it was a whole negotiation because, being a sausage dog, he was very determined in his thought process. So, yeah. It is definitely interesting.
Yeah. So, you need to just not use any essential oil, because some are not suitable for animals. So,
absolutely,
it's doing a bit of research and doing your homework.
Absolutely. Look, there's a fantastic vet, two fantastic vets actually. Melissa Shelton, she's from the USA, and Dr. Rourke. Both of those are amazing vets. They were doTERRA. Melissa Shelton actually makes her own now. You can go and look at their Facebook page, and they share a wealth of information, absolutely a wealth of information. There is lots of good people out there sharing things. It just takes the time to research.
I know names up after.
Yeah.
What's the name?
I noticed, Jeff, that you're sharing up the paw print. On a Sunday night, I do a free healing on my Facebook page. Put your animals up there and I do a healing. And on Monday night, we just have a remembrance of our animals that are passed. So you can come and share. Yeah, that's the paw prints in heaven. We do that on a Monday night. It's just beautiful to see people's animals and acknowledge them. And then from time to time through the week, I often do card readings on the page, draw a card out for animals and connect with them and, help people. So lots of activities happening on my Facebook page. So please come over and join me. Ask a question over there as well. Or, if you want to book in an animal communication session or healing, that's it. Facebook.com, Donna Dolittle.
Yeah, I love your, is that new with the pictures and giving animals a voice?
No, that was actually created by my beautiful son, who I haven't seen in over a year. He's stuck in another place with COVID, but he created that for me when I started doing this, and that's all of our animals.
Yeah, really nice.
The only one that's the golden retriever is Ajax, who's now nearly 12. The rest of my animals have all passed. That's in that picture. So yeah.
Oh, lovely. Oh, right. Anything else you'd like to share? I know we're coming to the end, so.
Oh, look, I could talk about animals and animal communication, animal healing all day.
Yeah, no, I could listen to you. I love the stories. It's just, animals come with their own gifts and their, uniqueness. So it's just lovely for you to come and share. Because I know last time we had a sound hiccup. So it's lovely that people are receiving you loud and clear. They can go on your different pages and, like you and follow you and share their photos, whatever they'd like to do.
Yes, please do that. And look, I really love to help people, and I do try and reach out. But when we do the card readings, that's the time to jump on board. If you're interested in learning about animal communication, reach out, and I'll pop you on the list for next year. We had some fantastic people from the UK this session that we just passed join us, and so I do them at different times depending upon which end of the world is going to join us. So yeah, it's good fun.
Yeah, lovely. Oh, well, you're doing a fabulous job in helping the animals. So thank you. And thank you for coming on the show again. I've really enjoyed listening to your stories and sharing. So thank you.
Thank you both for having me here. I really do appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
Very good. Thank you very much. Yeah. Hey, just before you go, do you actually... Oh, hang on a second. I took my... Sorry about that. The frogs were in the background, so I've had my microphone down. Hey, do you actually get any of your animals come to you in your sleep state?
Yes, they do. Ajax, the golden retriever that I have now, he used to come to me at night, and we would journey. And in fact, it was the most bizarre thing because we would journey to the UK, and I would leave him at train stations, and we would go to different places and do things. So Ajax and I have been together for many lifetimes, and he's been an amazing healer with me. Some of my animals that have passed come to me in dream time too, but usually for them, they send messages to me. Like I could be shopping on Facebook Marketplace and I randomly click on something and up pops their name on the side of a bowl or on a biscuit or and that's them trying to reach out and connect with me, and that will be how a lot of people receive messages.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I get them coming in and speaking English to me. Yeah.
Well, animals can speak all languages, Jeff. So it doesn't matter. I've had Indian people that I do connections for, and they would always speak their language to their animals, but yet I hear them in a beautiful, beautiful English for myself. And I see Angie's on the call here. She's the lovely lady that I was just referring to in the UK. And actually, when Angie would connect to the pets, it was just fabulous. Oh, look at that beautiful recommendation there. Angie gets stories and jokes. The animals share stories and jokes with her all the time. I mean, she's just fabulous listening to her communications come through too. So
yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I think I shall have to sign up because I know it's something that really resonates with me, animals, and doing the frequencies is one thing, but to be able to tune in even more is and I suppose there's part of you think, well, will they talk to me? It's like the monkey mind, isn't it? What was his name? Marvin. Yeah. Do you want to turn up the sound? Give us a little song from the frogs.
Serenade from the frogs as we leave.
Okay. Hey,
what's the song I was saying? What's that frog song?
From the Muppets.
Yeah.
Kermit.
Yeah.
That's good.
Right.
All right. Love you all.
Thank you very much.
Thanks everybody for being here. Bye-bye.
Bye.